Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Aaron St. Denis at FFMadScientist, joined by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. Welcome to the fantasy football universe. Today, we dive right back into the wide receiver pool for a legacy. This one is legendary receiver Jerry Rice's son. That is a 2024 sneak peek of USC wide receiver Brenden Rice. Alrighty. He is from Chandler, Arizona, and was a 3-star recruit out of Hamilton High School. So doesn't necessarily have Jerry's God-given ability. In 2020, as a freshman, he appeared in 6 games for Colorado. He recorded 6 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gotta love the 20 yak. Yikes, that's a lot. His 2021 season as a sophomore saw him playing 11 games where he recorded 21 catches, 299 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He then transferred to USC for 2022 junior season, where he had the best year to date, piling up 39 catches for 611 yards and 4 touchdowns, and had similar production in his senior year in 2023, 45 catches, 791 yards, and saw his touchdown total skyrocket to 12. So easily the best year of his career. Not exactly first-round pick numbers, though. What did you guys notice here when you dove into him?
You want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, there were spurts of like impressive play from him. Like he'd all of a sudden turn it on and it was like, oh, well, that's really good. He's got some good burst there. Or like he really juked the corner out of his shoes and was wide open in the end zone. And then there's plays where he just kind of disappeared. I didn't necessarily understand either, looking at his stats, why he sort of kind of trailed off toward the second half of the season this year. And then you just notice Taj, I forget his last name, but kind of took over as the number 1 wide receiver for USC, or just Caleb Williams was just.
Is it Brooks?
No, I have it somewhere.
I forget.
That's
Taj. Are you talking about Branch, or who are you talking about?
Taj Washington.
Oh, Washington, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say there was another useful wide receiver in USC. What?
Yeah, and he kind of, was, really had some nice games in middle, late of the area of the season, but Rice kept putting up the touchdowns. So he was a monster in and around the end zone. That helped his stats a lot, but I didn't think he looked, exceptional, especially coming from his pedigree.
Yeah. What'd you see, Jesse?
Yeah, it's interesting enough because Jerry Rice was very much an undervalued prospect coming out too. Obviously, you don't want to comp him to the greatest wide receiver of all time because he's going to fall woefully short of that. In his time in college, I've been more disappointed than impressed with him because he is big, he's extremely fast. He ran over 23 miles per hour in a game, which is ridiculously fast. But for some reason, like Jeremy's point, he just disappears far too often, and he gets stuck sometimes. And maybe that's because he's slender. I come away consistently wanting more from him, and I never get it. Like, you see the skill set, you see the talent, you're like, dude, you should be one of the best wide receivers in football. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't come together. So guys like that, they often have red flags for that reason. Almost like something's missing with him. I don't know what it is.
Also, he's 6'3", 79th percentile, and 210 pounds, 71st percentile. So the size is not an issue. 22 years old, he's a senior. Let's get into the scouting report here. He possesses freakish athleticism, insane testing numbers on both 10-yard split and the vertical jump. He's going to be just crazy at the combine. Has an alpha mentality with excellent size and strength. He shows excellent burst and quick twitch off the line of scrimmage and is a natural hands catcher with great speed and is a true yak monster. That's what he was known for at USC. What stood out best to you guys, or most to you guys, as the his main strength?
He was deceptively quick at times. I was kind of surprised by his quickness, and he used it in and out of his breaks. He was a couple of times just wide open in the end zone because he absolutely torched a corner just with his quick feet. That didn't show up all the time. But when he had to turn it on, a couple of times catching the ball and just immediately generating some burst and driving upfield, I was surprised at his quickness because it wasn't always there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's the athleticism stands out. Like you see it from time to time. He literally jumps off the screen because he's bigger. He can play the deep threat really well. So if you need someone to stretch the defense, he's that big body guy that can go down the field. And obviously, like touchdowns in the red zone. That always stands out because he is a bigger wide receiver and he's capable of winning those contested catches. So those are some of the things I like about him coming into the league. And I know an NFL team's going to love that because you don't get guys with this build this fast too often, right? So they're going to be like, oh yeah, we want this guy on our team.
Remember last year, the top 20 receivers, the biggest one was like 6 feet even.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're 6'2", you're a small guy in this class. But some of his weaknesses, he struggles to fight through contact despite his size. He could stand to put on some weight to match that height. He's kind of a slim guy. Tends to dance off the line of scrimmage way too often, wasting time in his route, and he's volatile and inconsistent production. That is very prone to huge boom and bust weeks. So like I said, I noticed the biggest ones for me was he dances way too much. He needs to just take off and start freaking running. But the inconsistent play really bothered me. Like you guys mentioned earlier, there's times where he's a ghost out there and you don't even notice he's in the lineup. And then when he wants to take over a game, he looks like his dad out there. So what really stood out to you guys as a negative?
I think Jesse said it earlier. He's just fine. I mean, overall, when you look at the entire body of work, he should be better than he is, and he's not. His skill set just continues to disappear at times. So he's okay, right? I don't necessarily want a guy who's just okay or worse, inconsistent on my team, someone I need to rely on, and that's probably why. Caleb Williams, the best quarterback in college football, or at least the 101 anyway, in this draft, started looking elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like for his career, he only has 1,800 receiving yards, and that's 4 years worth of data. So we're talking about a guy that's never lived up to the expectations, right? So it's just like, man, I continually want more from him. And if I'm scouting a player and I come away being like, man, I see stuff you could do. Whatever reason it's not consistent and you're continually just leave me wanting more, that's really not a player that I'm interested in fantasy because it's going to be up and down all over the place. He'll probably have like an 80-yard touchdown in like his rookie year. People, but oh my gosh, he's here. And then he'll probably have 3 games where he does nothing. Yeah. So like this is the kind of player you're getting coming into the league.
I hate these late breakouts too. You see a lot of the dominant NFL receivers. They were dominant as freshman college receivers. The guys who don't develop and break out really, like, his junior year was okay. It was decent. His senior year was, I guess, a breakout, but not even like for a senior, his size, you'd think it would have been better. So I do not love that in his profile.
Yeah, right. Look, his best case, he's Jerry. His worst case, he's Condoleezza, right? Like he probably falls somewhere in the middle. He's likely Sydney. So, we hope he can improve, but who knows?
What was wrong with Minute?
What's that?
What was wrong with Minute? You forgot Minute Rice.
I did.
All right.
We're not going to
Minute Rice. Yeah. He did. He came up way he was at the Senior Bowl and he did really well at the Senior Bowl and he like stood out to people. There were some quality wide receivers there too, so he's going to get a boost in his draft stock because of that as well.
I have him listed as day 3, early 4th round. I think he could probably squeak into the end of the 3rd round in a normal class. It's going to be tough this year. This class is loaded. I have him going to Carolina, a spot where there's no one else for him to beat out, and his size alone could get him on the field. I think that's best case scenario.
I don't want that for him. That's going to piss me off for Bryce Young because you're giving him another inconsistent wide receiver who he can't depend on. Bryce Young needs the opposite of that. He needs guys who continually get open and win all the time. So, I get it, but as you can tell, I'm pretty low on him in this class. He's probably like my wide receiver, 14. That's where I'm at with him.
Agreed.
He feels like the perfect replacement for Jerry Jeudy in Denver. Just let's get another inconsistent guy who can't command targets.
Yeah.
You guys think he makes it into day 2 or is he round 4?
I mean, if he tests like we expect, he's going to get a boost. And because teams do this all the time. They're like, oh my gosh, he's a freak. I want this guy on my team, right? So theoretically, someone could talk himself into him in round 2. We did it with Alec Pierce. We do it with these guys every year. These guys that are big and test very well. he'll get bumped up. So like I would not be shocked. But ideally, yeah, he should be a day 3 guy. But I could see someone taking him in round 2 if they're really bullish on him.
And I could see a team like Tennessee falling in love with him. You know, what better to pair with an inconsistent, overhyped wide receiver than an inconsistent, overhyped wide receiver? The Treylon Brenden pairing would be epic.
Hey, that's some freak athleticism right there. Some big boys.
That's
the all bus team right there. They go walk off the bus.
God.
You're like, this team looks nice. And
Tajay
not coming together.
Tajay Spears a gabillion targets and touches.
I'm looking at. I think he's going to get into day 2 now. I think he's going to go round 3. He's projected to run in the high 4.3s, and his father is Jerry Rice. He's going to get drafted.
He's going to be lobbying.
He's going 3rd round.
If his last name was anything other than Rice, like he would not have the hype he does. Like that's
the 4.38 that he's projected to run. That's going to help too. So.
But it comes up in every conversation about him. Even at the Senior Bowl, somebody jokingly goes, I think it was Ray Garvin, was like, who do you model your game after? Knowing his dad's Jerry Rice. And he goes, Julio Jones. And you're like, okay. Yeah. That's how I didn't even say his dad's name because I'm sure he's heard it like a million times.
Nice. All right. Well, that wraps up a rather exciting 2024 rookie sneak peek for USC wide receiver Brenden Rice. For the full write-up, this one was done by me. Head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Check back tomorrow on our YouTube channel for the next player in the series. For Aaron, Jeremy, and Jesse, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow.